Thank you for joining us on another episode of A Warrior Spirit, where we enable the inner warrior to shine their light. Today, I have a friend of mine, Kipperlee Black. She's a Reiki master and an intuitive, and also a self-professed witch, which we'll dive into a little bit later, but Glenda the Good Witch, not the other one. Kipperlee, you've mentioned that you've had an interesting journey and an interesting time. Some of your journey started in your early teens, correct?
Correct.
So what happened as an early teen that got you on this path?
So I met my kid's dad when I was 16. I grew up in North Ogden, and we moved when I was 16 to Clearfield. So I didn't really have any friends or knew anybody. So in high school is kind of a hard time to move to make friends anyways. So of course, when I met him, he what do you call it? Love bombed me. He did everything, just a young girl would imagine, of like a fairy tale dream, basically. And then he ended up being a narcissist, and yeah.
So switching from full out love to narcissism, he actually became a harsh critic of yours, right?
Correct. And I had 2 children with him.
And how old were you when you had the kids?
19.
Okay. And you had mentioned earlier to me that he also, said you were fat, got you hooked on drugs. Like, can you share some of that story?
Sure. Yeah, he told me, he says, I think it's because he was on meth that he decided he wanted to get me onto it. So to make himself look better. I'm not sure the whole reasoning towards that. But anyways, so he told me, you're fat, you have 2 kids, nobody will ever want you, and he really played on my emotions. He physically, mentally really did a number on me. And he says, well, you want to lose weight, I know a good way how. And he introduced me to methamphetamines. And then that's where everything started spiraling down the rabbit hole.
So how long were you on that downward journey?
17 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So did you, at that time, did it cause you to disconnect from your children, or
It did. Yes, I did. And he went to jail, and so he called the state on me and told them that I was using drugs, and he didn't want my children around that. And so with him being in jail, they believed him. I don't know how. He was a smooth talker, but anyway, so they came in and investigated me and did a drug test, which I wasn't prepared or had no idea was going to be happening. But I did have food and provided shelter, and my kids had a nice home. But of course, me being on drugs isn't being a good parent either. So anyways, yeah.
And have you been able to repair that relationship? Did you get them back?
Yeah, I lost my kids for a while, and I went in and out of jail. I just started spiraling out of control, and I lost them, and my mom actually took over and raised them for me. And I just kept spiraling out of control after I lost my kids, because that was my everything. And so I just started going crazy and ended up using meth a lot, and decided to sell it to support my habit. And then I turned around and I started becoming a junkie, and I got with a guy. And well, he didn't tell me he had hepatitis C, and he actually gave that to me on purpose.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was really crazy. And I didn't even find out that I had it till let's see, it's been like 5 or 6 years ago. And I got really sick and stuff from that. And my doctor did a blood test and told me you have hepatitis. So I narrowed it down, and I went to him and I said, hey, this is what's happened to me. And he goes, yeah, I had it. And now basically you're mine. Nobody's going to want you. And I was like, oh, heck no, this is not going to happen to me. And so I decided for myself, not only myself, but my children and my family, I needed help. Something was wrong. I needed help.
So what
So
did you do?
I turned myself and I went into a rehabilitation place, and it was called the Women's Retreat. And so I got sober and started building my life better from that. But I got sober, but I was still facing charges to jail and stuff like that from the courts. And I ended up going to prison as a diagnostic for 90 days, and they decided I wasn't prison material. So they brought me back and I did a year in jail, but I was sober at that time. So that was kind of a real eye opener.
Yeah.
But we always got to pay for our mistakes, I guess.
What what do the what's the determination that someone's prison material? That's
They just want to, you meet with a counselor one time and they just decide if, I think is more or less to teach me a lesson. Is I think they try to scare you is what they're trying to do. I'm not sure. I don't even know if they do that anymore, but that was in 2008.
so how old were you at this time?
Let's see, I think I was in my 30s.
Okay. So you were facing jail time, prison time, lack of
Hmm.
children, and you decided you needed help.
Right.
So what turned you to Reiki and some of the healing modalities to move forward with your journey?
After I got clean and everything, and uh, I have a really awesome Reiki master teacher, and I a friend told me you should try Reiki, and I'm like, okay. So I went to her and I tried it, and after that, she's like, you should become one. You should become a Reiki master. You have it in you. I see it. You need to become a Reiki master. So I got attuned to Reiki.
And so is that when you started to like, I've found the people that I deal with and that I've been around, if they're healers or they're gifted in energy work, or if they're empathic or intuitive or any of those things, they have a sense of it at a younger age, and a lot of them will deny it or put it aside. Um, as you reflect back on your life, do you see areas where you actually had these gifts that you just never used them?
Yes, I do. I have always wanted to help people. Even as a kid with my mom, when she would get sick, I would try to make her feel better. I do believe I was a natural healer, and then the Reiki helped it more.
So, and now you also work in the medical field, correct?
I do. Uh-huh.
So what do you do in that world?
I work at it's called a health and rehabilitation place. It's like a kind of like a nursing home, a skilled nursing home,
Hmm.
and I help out there.
Okay. And so are you able to, obviously not openly, do Reiki on these folks, but are you able to help and heal some of those through your gifts now?
Actually, yes, it's really crazy because now it's getting more known. Before it wasn't, very few people knew about it,
Right.
but now it's like the doctors. My dad had COVID back in May, and he got really really sick. They didn't think he was going to make it, and I did a lot of energy healing on him, and the doctors even said they totally believed 100% in it and stuff. So I helped save his life. And it's just, my mom wants always asked me to send her distance Reiki all the time because I can send it distance and stuff like that. Yeah. But at my work, when people found out that I'm a Reiki master, they're like, oh, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And I'm like, of course.
Yeah, it's energy work is amazing, and those who study of it, some people have the misconception you have to be in the same place or do the hands-on, and you don't. You can send it with intention across space and time,
Yes.
and actually help others who aren't there. And I speak of this very highly because I've had it done for me and my wife, as a Reiki master as well, and I've seen her do it, for others. So understanding the energy world is kind of an important path for you to be on. When did you start describing yourself as a witch?
Um, I've always thought of myself as a witch, but I really started getting into it right before I became a Reiki master's, when I started getting into it, all that too. So I kind of channeled that into my Reiki too.
And what does that mean to you? Because a lot of people who are listening or who hear the word, term witch, it gives a negative connotation, when in fact, those who actually study it understand that it's more of a healing term than an evil term, correct?
Exactly. Exactly.
So when you have to explain to people, I'm a witch, how do you describe it to those?
I tell them nice that people ask me, and because I have tattoos and stuff like that that represent stuff, and they're like, "So you're a witch?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm a witch. I'm spiritual, but I'm not evil." You just got to kind of tell them, it's not like cartoons. It's not like, anything bad. It's a good thing. I mean, I'm sure it could be used as evil, but it's not. I mean, you have to read up and do your education on it.
So what does being a witch mean to you?
What does it mean to me? It's just, it comes natural to me. What, I don't know. It's just, I love everything about it. Nature, energy, everything. I just love it all.
Now, you mentioned earlier to me before we started the interview that you've had past lives,
Hmm.
and in those past lives, you've been a witch more than once, correct?
Correct. I used to do
So,
spell work and help and sell my spells to other people to help them.
so to me, that signifies that it would be part of your DNA, not just this incarnation, because you're bringing it forth in all those other variations of who you are.
Correct.
So, what do you use it for today?
What do I use it for today?
Yeah.
A lot of different things. Like I make oils, candles, and it's all about intent. Whatever you put out, intent is a lot of it. So
Well, you've experienced, some very dark things in your life,
correct.
and especially as a young woman growing into teen and then having children. What's your biggest takeaway from the things you've experienced? And if people were to look at you today, they certainly wouldn't see a meth addict and somebody who's been down that dark journey. So you've obviously turned it around.
Correct.
What would you say is a key component for that turnaround for you?
Um Reiki was a lot of it because I had to go through like a purge and I had to get rid of all the bad stuff out of my body to be able to help others. So Reiki helped a lot in a lot of ways. Like I said, you did have to go through a purge, and it's is crazy.
You now help others.
I
How have
do.
you used your past trauma to help others who may be experiencing it?
Yes, I have compassionate action, and also I have the Karuna Reiki. So also that helps with any like addiction, stuff like that. I can help people with that. I tell people my story, you know, just how I did get rid of the hep C. It's been 3 years now. I finally got rid of that, and just everything, I don't know, it's just everything's coming together slowly, and I don't know how to explain it.
Well, it's definitely a journey and a fight. when you were going through the early narcissistic relationship, the drugs, and then the prison, how did that impact you with your siblings or your parents? Like,
My parents pretty much told me, you know what, made the choice, you can pay the price. You did it, you do what you own up to it, and you pay for it, and it's taken a lot of years to get their trust and faith back. Same with my children. I finally have grown a good relationship with my kids. I have grandchildren now that I just love. And my parents, they weren't accepting at first. They pretty, they didn't like it. And but now they're more understanding. They see that I've changed my life around and that I've made a big change. And now I'm owning a home and I'm doing all these, working stuff like that. So now they support me 100% and they see the person I am now. So now I have a good relationship with my parents and my sister, and my brother.
nice. And if you were to, if somebody out there was listening to your story and, they're going through narcissistic relationships or people who are leading them down that path, what would you advise them? How would you reach out and help them?
I would tell them run, run
Right.
fast. Don't look back because it's not fun. It's draining. It's a very dark place to be in when you have somebody telling you constantly that you're a piece of crap. It can really do a number on a person really bad. And I the Reiki helps, I can balance out chakras, stuff like that. I can help them that way. I can tell them my experience, but I would say run.
Right. It's difficult when you're in that, to not believe what somebody else is saying to you, especially
Exactly.
when they start off, as you said, love bombing you.
Hmm.
So, you were a 16-year-old girl getting affection from somebody in a loving, caring way, and then it flipped on you. So that makes it hard to run because now you're all like, what the
Yeah.
hell? How did
Yeah.
I create this situation that they turned on me? Right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard to accept somebody that would do that. I mean, it gave me PTSD, trust issues. I didn't trust anyone. And I was with him 17 years. So yeah, I didn't run. I guess I should reword that better. But yeah, it's not fun. It's hard. It's a hard thing to
So
deal with.
you're clean and sober now. You're
Right.
helping others. You're
Hmm.
a good relationship with your kids and your grandkids and your parents. Are you in a caring relationship now, or are you still
Yes, I'm married now.
nice?
I've been
And
married for 12 years.
nice. And he's
Hmm.
obviously been accepting of your story and of your journey.
Yes, he's helped 100%. And I guess I pushed people away because I thought, I don't want to get close to nobody. Are they going to do this to me, that, or whatever? But he stuck it out. He knew, he saw, he knew, and he accepted, okay, she'll find out that I'm not going to leave. I'm not that person. And it's hard not to do that to a person.
Mhm. Well, your story definitely is one of survival, and it shows that even as dark as it can be, there is light out there, and there is hope. And I would imagine that one of the things that you may still struggle with or had to overcome was your own forgiveness of you
Yes.
and finding grace within yourself.
Yes. It's hard to believe in yourself. Now I finally do.
Yeah. And to find somebody else who sticks that out and believes that with you is, definitely a added component to that. So
Yes.
What's the lesson that your children have learned from this? Because they watched you go through this spiral and they saw you on both sides of it. What is their opinion?
My daughter's amazing. They had a little hard time trusting me at first and stuff, and it took a long time to get that back. But now they see where I went from rock bottom to where I am now. They think that's pretty amazing because most people don't get out like
Right.
that. They really don't. And it's just, they love me and they respect me now. But yeah, they've seen, and so it showed them not to go down that path. I think, it really did.
Well, I think you have lived an amazing journey, and I know it takes a lot of courage to speak about it and to share that. Um, you are in my circle, and I consider my circle of warriors to be warrior spirits. What does a warrior spirit mean to Kipperlee?
It means that I've overcome everything and now I'm on top, and I'm here to help any way I can.
I love it. If you were to give one piece of advice as we kind of wrap up your story, what would it be other than run? What would be your one main advice to somebody?
Don't give up. There's always hope. Don't ever give up and keep striving to be you.
I love that. That's a beautiful way to end your story. Kipperlee, I know that 2023 is going to bring great things to you, and the more you share your story and get your word out there, the more you're going to be able to help others get through their own darkness. And I thank you for being a light in this world now, and I appreciate your time and I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
Alrighty. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.